It's okay. But no, anything else at all. We'll end up security bulletin and notifying them, hey, there's something wrong with the website.
We're talking about STI, are we?
Yep, it's a notification question more than what I've been doing. I've got a system I'm building at the moment. It records for aquariums. I've got various aquariums, and I have to record measurements which happen at different times. And those various types of parameters. You have acidity, amount of ammonia, hopefully zero, various other things. All of these things that you record, excuse my quick sketch, which I just did then, but everything I record basically is the same core information. There's a float, there's a time, there's a couple of IDs which point to, that's the measurement itself, a couple of IDs pointing off to foreign keys. And then we have various specific types of the actual things being recorded, like I said, acidity, ammonia at the top. So what I've been struggling with and thinking about, should I actually use, this looks like the perfect case for single table inheritance, which every time you read about it, lots and lots of people say don't do it for the obvious reason that as soon as you have an extra field that comes in somewhere, you're going to have lots of nulls ending up in your table. Does everyone knows what single table inheritance is before? Cool. Basically, instead of having when you have exactly the same parameters or very, very close to the same fields in different tables, you can inherit from one type and then it adds a magic field into the table, which selects which one of the actual types you're dealing with. In this case, so what it actually is, it's actually called type, which is why you should never use type in an actual model. It's going to get very confused. But what I was thinking is, if I was to model it myself, I'll probably use service objects on the top, just use a measurements class. But I'm going to end up doing pretty much exactly the same thing anyway, and having to put a magic field in there called type or context or something like that to tell me which one of the top of the actual classes it is. Or I could have individual models for each of the specific things I'm recording. But the problem is when I'm doing queries, I have two different sets. Sometimes I do a query which is within one of these. If you say you're doing a trend over time, something like that, which fits perfectly into having individual models. But sometimes I say, okay, just give me every recording which I take between this time and this time. And that fits perfectly into having a central table which does everything. Otherwise I'm going to have, there's a dozen different specific types over there. Have a massive join or to have lots and lots of different queries and then put it back together with code. So what I was wondering about, it seems like all STI is actually doing is adding that one field and then tying that back into your classes so that you don't have to basically do exactly the same thing yourself. Have a magic field and then have a big switch table or something similar to go and work out which of my actual types I'm going to be dealing with. Like you said, is this record an acidity record? Is this record an ammonia record? And then you can query. Does anyone have any experience with STI about, does it have lots of overheads? Any reason I shouldn't be going this path?
How do you get the data? I think, I don't know, I'm really opinionated on everything and I love it. I don't think this is an STI problem. I think I think the idea of having a single flat table as opposed to considering it as an STI. The thing when you use STI, you're going to define multiple models that are just backed onto one table. But I think, you're talking about having a measurement. The logic is a layer above this on how to query, and aggregate, measures over time. It's just a measure.
So, best example I can give you is you imagine if you had the concept of an item, okay, on an invoice. Now, so if it's a sales order, that item line is different to if it's an invoice line item, okay? But there's a lot of commonality there that you're basically saying the total is the quantity times the unit price, okay? And you can go put that in the top class, and it's available to both the subclasses, okay? But then you can then go put your specifics that are only to do with the sales order for an item compared to the invoice for an item. You can put each one of those into their own classes, and it doesn't overload item with all this other information So if we're talking in database formats, it'd be or models. It'd be like item would be our top, okay, and then we'd have item sales, item invoice as our sub ones, and anything that relates to specifically to invoice we put in one, and anything we talk about for orders we put in there, and anything that's common between them can go in the primary one. So you don't end up duplicating code, and two, you're separating things out into where they're supposed to be. It works a lot better in Rails 4 and 5 than it used to in 3. 3 used to bite you because all your paths and links and your forms submissions would go to wrong places. They got it right with later versions of Rails. But let's just say it will bite you in the end, somehow, somewhere. And for that reason, I still use it. I used it in the project recently, and then I went away for a while, and Mitchell actually...
It's still there in one place, which I regret.
He removed it, and I now see so much code duplication, it's not funny because those two areas are virtually the same, but he's duplicating. Sorry?
Not even close.
There was a lot of, but anyway.
It started that way, but.
Okay, so that's what the goal of STI generally is to try to one, break out something that when you're overloading it, that you put the right information into two different places, and two, to put the common stuff into one other place.
Yeah.
But it will bite you.
So you're talking about common logic?
Yeah.
Because you can use concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One.
Well, that's, but concerns is only a more recent thing. So.
One of the reasons I guess I was thinking about it was because of that use case where I have to get a lot of the measures over a time period, and this can be a lot. Some of these things are going to be IoT devices where I could have 1 million rows easily that I'm pulling back across all the different types. So I thought if I do a base class and inherit off it, I'm just going to have a lot of data I've got to go put together. Whereas in that, I think, from what I can make out, the underlying implementation in Rails is basically just that the same object. So it's actually going to only hit the database once, pulling that blob.
Have you heard of MQTT?
Well, there's some sources will be MQTT going in.
Yeah, okay. Because you put, I don't know, like, if you've got that much data, you probably want to use InfluxDB and like submit in Rails.
Yeah, do something that also use.
It's mainly a time series database, so it's you can handle millions of records a second. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, there is more for doing it and doing stuff with it.
yeah, but that's still something like you've got a couple of layers here. Like,
That type of data, I wouldn't even put it in. I put it in plastic or something like that. It's more efficient, more fast, and you put more front ends on it as well. Something like
Separate it out. Yeah.
something
and
like
query it like collect these.
help
Yeah.
stack.
Yep.
Because then you can visualize your data, and then you can just click through your data, and it's just automatically there. So if you import it to it, you don't have to do any work with it.
Is this a product or?
Oh, it's just something I'm working on myself.
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah.
something I have a need to do.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Mitchell.